The poet is called early, earliest of all, knows with young brain and frail child body that well, now it is a poet. All vocations, variants, the poet knows, as if the gods spoke. Well, let's get this over with. See if we can handle it. Need to do it now. Too much ahead. Tiny child. Yes, and the archangel's wings. All 6 wings of the angel, the 6 wings of the archangel move at once now. The archangel in flight, who has seen, who can withstand the sight and the speed. Impossibility is the speed of the angel, and it is impossible. The shell of the angel, the armor, wings, all 6, made for flight and defense, wings of layered armor to protect the angel from the power of the Lord. The child will have no armor, the angel thinks, swirling impossibly downward toward earth. The archangel, wings and fire, the breastplate of heaven, spear raised, no trace in the sky. There is no trace of passing. This is no meteor. It is archangel, falling from heaven to deliver a death sentence to the child below. The poet, God says, cannot be helped, only called. And, hovering above the young child, the angel, hovering above the child, extending a forefinger toward the forehead of the child, at that exact moment, a voice enters the mind of the child. It is done. You are on your own. Quickly, knowledge is gathered. Knowledge of everything. I just know that I am right. And I know that I am wrong, too. I feel it. Living, life, lived. The poet knows only one thing is certain, learns early and well that it is a knife. The language, the way I understand it, it is a knife. And the tiny orphan, no longer concerned with games of the adults or of other children, orphaned, is already alone. The language is a knife, and rather than weapon, turning it upon others. Why? Such a waste and horror. I know it, have learned holocausts because of words used precisely, whispered or spoken or shouted with skill. Knives, but still, the words must be used. So, inward it slices. The poet learns the depth of its own skin. It can withstand a cut, values sharp knives, kept clean, a discipline. And occasionally, it fails. The poet learns not to scream, learns not to beat himself up. Everybody makes mistakes. But slicing too deep, too rough, or without reason, such butchery will kill. The first ones, the early guts, teach all. One learns or one bleeds out. Another poet must be called. Another casualty is drifted from the bridge, spinning down, falling alone. Most die, few live. Of the living, most have forgotten. The poet writes these lines while wondering what archangel wings sound like, what they feel like. The growing poet wonders if it will ever be not lonely. Yes, keep going, but it won't be what you think. Time, voice within, it cannot be foreseen. What is time? What is loneliness? What is love? Cutting, cleaner and cleaner, the incisions leave no scars now. No longer bleed either. Do I even have any blood left? Time, voice within, laughing. Nor does the messenger who delivered the word, watch. No. The archangel is already in repose, wrapped in winged, layered armor, as outside the light and screaming of God's voice. What else to call it? God's song. The insanity of God's voice. It barely penetrates the cocoon. The angel knows when to disappear, when to let God sing, with no fear of the devastation that God's voice renders. God is perhaps, the angel thinks, expressionless and layered winged armor. God is perhaps the loneliness that shall ever be, and no mercy shall be given it, no reason explained to it. The fury of God must rage, no soul even able to hear his song, his wrath cry of all, and forever aloneness, the loneliness of God, the sadness and loneliness of God. The poet puts the pencil down and wraps himself in sheets and blankets. The poet prefers wool blankets for their weight, the safety and warmth of wool blankets. The poet hears nothing out there in the night. It is quiet, but maybe a faint hum. It is impossible to hear if one tries to listen. Thinking, the poet knows, wrapped in wool blankets and sheets, the poet knows of God's savage isolation. One could, the poet thinks, have great pity, even compassion for God. One could sing to God a little song to ease God's pain. Something funny and nice with a simple melody, like lulling a child to sleep. Singing to God the same way, the poet thinks. What would that be like? I wonder.